Hello and welcome. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up over the next hour. The Kremlin neither confirms nor denies US President Donald Trump's claim of having spoken to his Russian counterpart on resolving the Ukraine conflict. The Israeli military withdraws from the Netzarim corridor in Gaza. The narrow road had cut off Gaza's north from the south. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania sync their electricity systems to European continental power grid, a day after ditching decades-old Russia and Belarus energy ties. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to engage with students, parents and teachers on the upcoming annual exams in Pariksha Pe Charcha 2025 on Monday. US President Donald Trump has said he's spoken with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss ending the war in Ukraine, with Putin expressing concern over the loss of lives. Meanwhile, Ukraine has proposed opening its rare earth minerals to foreign investment. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has also met with NATO officials to focus on military aid and long-range drone production.
US President Donald Trump revealed on Sunday that he had spoken with Russian President Vladimir Putin over the phone to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. Trump said that Putin wants to see people stop dying. However, Kremlin spokesman neither confirmed nor denied report of Putin and Trump conversation. On Friday, Trump had said he would probably meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky next week to discuss ending the war. Ukraine's rare earths wealth could also be a part of the talks. Ukraine floated the idea of opening its critical minerals to investment by allies last autumn, as it presented a victory plan that sought to put it in the strongest position for talks and force Moscow to the table. Zelensky said less than 20% of Ukraine's mineral resources, including about half its rare earth deposits, were under Russian occupation. Rare earths are important in the manufacture of high-performance magnets, electric motors, and consumer electronics. Zelensky said Moscow could open these resources to its allies, North Korea and Iran, both sworn US enemies. Ukraine has rapidly returned its foreign policy approach to align with the transactional worldview set out by the new occupant of the White House, Ukraine's most important ally. But Zelensky emphasized that Kiev was not proposing giving away its resources, but offering a mutually beneficial partnership to develop them jointly. On the other hand, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with NATO Military Committee Chair Giuseppe Cavo-Dragon in Ukraine. Zelensky posted on social media platform X that key topics of our discussion included preparations for the upcoming Ramstein meeting, continued military assistance from NATO member states, and direct investments in domestic production of long-range drones. Amid latest push for talks, US President Donald Trump on February 3rd had said he wanted Ukraine to supply the US with rare earths and other minerals in return for financially supporting its war effort. With Bureau Inputs, Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
In another development, Baltic states, that is Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, switched over to European power grid, ending Russian ties. This historic shift, years in the making, marks a new chapter of energy independence for the Baltic nations. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen celebrated the move, emphasizing the end of dependence on Russia.
History is made. We connect the Baltic states to our continental European electricity grid. Electricity lines with Russia and Belarus are being dismantled. These chains of power lines linking you to hostile neighbors will be a thing of the past. This is freedom, freedom from threats, freedom from blackmails.
Moments ago, I received great news. The synchronization of the Baltic states' electricity system with the continental European system has been successfully completed.
Now, the third week of Donald Trump's second term has been marked by more major moves coming in from the US President and his team. From announcing US goals for the future of Gaza and slashing the US Agency for Foreign Aid to banning transgender women from female sports competitions, Trump has pressed on with his agenda. DD India's Mihir Mercury gives us a roundup of all the action.
A week is a long time in politics. And if anyone has proven that, it's US President Donald Trump, whose decisions have made a massive impact. Let's break down his top 10 moves. Trump proposed US takeover Gaza. During a presser with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, Trump suggested that the US would take over Gaza, develop the territory, and resettle its Palestinian population.
I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad, this could be so magnificent.
Trump planned to put thousands of USAID staff on leave. Thousands of US employees at the US Agency for International Development, the government's main foreign aid agency, were expected to be placed on leave at midnight on Friday. That was until a judge temporarily blocked President Trump's plan hours before it was due to happen. Trump imposed tariffs on China and pulled back threats on neighbors. Fulfilling his campaign promise, Trump imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese imports on Tuesday, but delayed his threat of implementing 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico for 30 days after the leaders of those countries pledged to strengthen border security. Trump sanctioned the International Criminal Court. On Thursday, Trump signed an order to impose sanctions on some staff of the International Criminal Court who assist in ICC probes of American citizens or allies. This move came as Netanyahu visited DC after an arrest warrant was recently issued against the Prime Minister. Withdrew from UN bodies. Trump also took action to end US involvement in several UN bodies like the UNRWA and the United Nations Human Rights Council. Trump demanded rare earth resources from Ukraine. The week also saw Trump asking Ukraine to guarantee rare earth metal supplies in exchange for financial support in its fight against Russia. Trump banned transgender competitors from women's sports. Wednesday saw Trump signing an executive order preventing transgender women from competing in female sports categories in schools and other educational settings. Trump also stated that this would apply to the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Trump announced a task force to tackle anti-Christian bias. Trump also established a task force aimed at protecting religious freedoms and ending anti-Christian bias in the federal government. Removed climate change mentions from government websites. Reports surfaced that Trump ordered US government websites to remove references to climate change. And Joe Biden's security clearance revoked. "Joe, you are fired," was what Trump said while revoking Joe Biden's security clearance and access to daily intelligence briefings, something Biden did to Trump 4 years ago. With these moves in just 1 week, many believe Trump's actions will make even bigger global headlines over the next 4 years. Mihir Mercury's report for DD India.
Now, US judges blocked Elon Musk's team from accessing sensitive Treasury Department data, citing concerns over unauthorized access. The temporary order, effective until the 14th of February, restricts access to payment systems and data for non-Treasury personnel. Musk, leading Trump's cost-cutting efforts, denounced the judge as an activist and accused Democrats of hiding a massive fraud scheme. The case was brought by 19 states' attorneys generals, alleging the administration violated the law by expanding access to sensitive data. Judge Engelmeyer blocked Elon Musk's team from accessing sensitive Treasury data, citing risks of disclosure and hacking. The lawsuit alleges Trump allowed an unelected billionaire to infiltrate federal agencies, posing huge risks to sensitive data. Now, the Israeli military withdrew from the Netzarim corridor dividing northern and southern Gaza in line with the ceasefire deal with the Hamas. Israeli security forces have expanded their military operation in Nur Shams region of the occupied West Bank. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again vowed to destroy the Hamas and bring home all captives held by the Palestinian group.
As part of an ongoing ceasefire deal, the Israeli military completed its withdrawal from the Netzarim corridor, a key highway in Gaza, on Sunday. Following Israel's withdrawal from the area, large number of Gazans were heading to Salah al-Din Street in North Gaza City.
When I heard about the opening of the road in both directions, I came straight to Gaza City. But I was surprised that the road was in such a bad state and the people are suffering a lot. It takes time to cross.
Since the early months of the war, Israeli forces had occupied the roughly 4-mile-long corridor south of Gaza City that stretches from the Israeli border to the Mediterranean Sea. The 4-mile Netzarim corridor is a strip of land that bisects northern Gaza from the south, which Israel used as a military zone during the conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu vowed to crush Hamas and free all remaining hostages.
We have once again seen what monsters Hamas are. These are the same monsters who slaughtered our civilians and mistreated our hostages. And I say to them once again, they will pay for their actions. We will do everything to bring back all our hostages, and we will ensure their safety. We will eliminate Hamas and return our hostages. That is the instruction, and that is how we will act.
Saudi Arabia has formally rejected Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's remarks on displacing Palestinians. Earlier, Israeli officials suggested creating a Palestinian state on Saudi territory, after which the proposal drew sharp condemnation from Egypt and Jordan. Family of freed Thai farm worker held hostage in Gaza for over a year welcomed Vacharash Srion with tears of joy and hugs to their home in Udon, Taini, after he was freed on January 30. Hamas has so far released 21 hostages, civilians, soldiers, and Thai nationals during the ceasefire that began on January 19. Bureau Report, DD, India.
Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to engage with students, parents and teachers in the much anticipated Pariksha Pe Charcha 2025, scheduled to take place on Monday. This annual event aims to address exam stress, offer motivational guidance and provide valuable insights on exam preparedness. Here is a detailed report.
In a record-breaking response of over 5 crore participants have registered for this year's 8th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha, making it the largest ever edition of this event. A total of 36 students from all states and union territories have been selected to interact directly with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This year's Pariksha Pe Charcha has been revamped with a fresh and immersive format, featuring 7 key themes ranging from mental health, mindfulness to technology, sports and financial literacy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will personally address students concerning about exam pressure, time management and career choices, while also encouraging them to think beyond textbooks and develop a broader perspective on life and learning. Pariksha Pe Charcha 2025 will be broadcasted live on Doordarshan as well as streamed on the official social media platforms of Ministry of Education, PIB and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Schools across the country have also made special arrangements for students to tune in and participate. With exams around the corner, Pariksha Pe Charcha continues to serve as a guiding light for the students, helping them to face academic challenges with confidence and a positive mindset. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Prime Minister Modi is set to depart for Paris on Monday to co-chair the AI Action Summit with France's Emmanuel Macron. Lebanon Prime Minister has formed a new government after over 3 weeks of talks with rival political parties. And polling is taking place in Kosovo with key issues like economy, corruption and relations with its neighbor Serbia at stake.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Gautam Roy. Now, Egypt has announced an emergency Arab summit on the 27th of this month to discuss serious developments for Palestinians amid regional and global condemnation of US President Donald Trump's suggestion to take over the Gaza Strip. In a joint press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week, President Trump had suggested to take over the Gaza Strip and create a Rivera of the Middle East after resettling Palestinians elsewhere. Meanwhile, Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati is heading to Washington, D.C. on Sunday for talks with senior officials from the new Trump administration and members of the Congress. A new government was formed in Lebanon on Saturday after more than 3 weeks of talks with rival political parties. New Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has said the 24-member cabinet would prioritize financial reforms, reconstruction and the implementation of a United Nations resolution seen as a cornerstone to stability on the Lebanese border with Israel. The Christian Lebanese Forces Party, which is fiercely opposed to the Hezbollah and has not been a part of the cabinet in more than 5 years, also picked 4 ministers, including Foreign Affairs Minister and Energy Minister.
Now that we have announced the government, which I hope will be a government of reform and salvation, I would like to emphasize the following points which I place at the top of my priorities. First, the reform is the only path to real salvation, and this requires the government to ensure security and stability in Lebanon by completing the implementation of Resolution of 1701 and the ceasefire agreement and following up on Israel's withdrawal to the last inch of the Lebanese territory. This is in conjunction with reconstruction, which I previously said is not a promise but a commitment.
70 years ago, a thriving multicultural neighborhood in Johannesburg was torn apart by the brutality of apartheid. On the 9th of February 1955, South African government began forcibly removing residents of Sophia Town, a place that once symbolized unity and culture. What followed was a dark chapter of demolition, segregation and displacement. As South Africa marks 70 years since Sophia Town removals, the scars of apartheid still remain.
70 years ago, Sophia Town, a suburb of Johannesburg, was more than just a neighborhood. It was a symbol of defiance, a place where black, white, and mixed-race families lived together, where jazz legends performed, and where activists dreamt of a free South Africa. But life took a topsy-turvy turn. Bulldozers, police, and military trucks all came in the February of 1955. The residents of Sophia Town, they simply watched their homes getting flattened, their memories erased.
They bring us here to the mine dumps. This place was mine dumps, this Meadowlands.
The destruction of Sophia Town was part of a larger scheme. In 1950, South Africa's ruling Afrikaner National Party passed a law that allocated 85% of the country's land to the white minority. Over 3.5 million black South Africans were forcibly removed from their homes and stripped of their ancestral lands. In 1962, Sophia Town was renamed as Triumph. The name was officially restored to Sophia Town in 2006. But history doesn't end with renaming streets. The deep wounds of forced removals still run through South Africa's land ownership pattern.
My parents and my grandparents, whenever they talked about this place, they talked about it with fondness. Their focus was on what they left behind. the beauty they left behind, the happiness they left behind.
During a lifetime of resistance and imprisonment, Nelson Mandela led South Africa out of apartheid in 1994. Mandela spent a total of 27 years in prison for opposing South Africa's apartheid system. Even after 30 years of democracy, land remains the most bitter legacy of apartheid. White landowners still hold 75% of South Africa's freehold farmland. Black ownership stands at just 4%. The willing buyer, willing seller policy of the African National Congress, which was designed to encourage land redistribution, has failed to make a meaningful change. In an attempt to correct these disparities, President Cyril Ramaphosa recently signed a bill allowing the government to expropriate land in the public interest. The move has drawn both support and sharp criticism, including from US President Donald Trump, who signed an executive order last week to cut US financial assistance to South Africa, citing disapproval of its land policy. For many, the debate over land is about more than just ownership. It's about dignity, justice, and breaking free from the cycle of poverty that apartheid set in motion. 70 years after Sophiatown's destruction, the echoes of apartheid still shape South Africa's landscape. Bureau Report, DD India.
New Zealand will relax visa rules to attract more foreign investors in efforts to stimulate economic growth. Immigration Minister Erica Stanford said the country's investor visa category would be made simpler and more flexible to encourage investors to choose New Zealand for their capital, skills and international connections. The changes to take effect from the 1st of April follow the government's recent relaxation of visa rules, allowing holidaymakers to work remotely while visiting the country, aimed at boosting its tourism sector. India and France are set to elevate their strategic ties as Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a crucial 3-day visit. Key agreements in defence, artificial intelligence and nuclear energy are on the agenda. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya has more details.
India and France are set to take their strategic partnership to new heights as Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a crucial 3-day visit to France early next week. Key announcements are expected in defence, nuclear energy and aerospace, reinforcing the strong bilateral ties between the two nations.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi will be visiting France from 10th to 12th February 2025. This visit is on the occasion of the organization of the Artificial Intelligence Summit, the AI Action Summit that France is organizing. And Prime Minister will co-chair this AI Action Summit alongside President Macron of France. The visit will also include a substantial bilateral component.
A major highlight of the visit, the much-anticipated deal for 26 Rafale M fighter jets for the Indian Navy, further bolstering India's maritime defense capabilities. In addition, discussions are at an advanced stage for 3 more Scorpene-class submarines, enhancing India's underwater warfare strength. On February 11th, the AI Action Summit will take center stage, where both nations will unveil a roadmap on artificial intelligence. This initiative aims to drive governance, inclusivity, and global standards for AI technology.
AI, as you know, is one of the revolutions sweeping our times with enormous implications for our society, for our politics, for our economy. And there, India brings to the fore the voice of the global South, given the concerns we have about making sure that there is an equitable access to AI technology. There is no digital divide, so to speak, that it should be safe, it should be trustworthy, it should be open and inclusive, with adequate care for the impact it's going to have on the future of work, on the future of labor, how it's going to be governed. So those are the common concerns which we have. And it also lays the foundation for how we can collaborate with France.
The visit also focuses on economic cooperation with a CEO roundtable. Discussions will also focus on further increasing the cooperation between the two nations in diverse sectors, including aviation, manufacturing, defense, technology, energy, among others. Prime Minister Modi will then travel south to Marseille, marking the opening of India's new consulate. On February 12th, Prime Minister Modi will pay tribute to Indian soldiers who fought in World War I, honoring their sacrifices in France's war cemeteries. India and France continue to collaborate on cutting-edge nuclear technology, paving the way for future energy innovations.
From defense to digital innovation, this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi marks a new chapter in Indo-French relations, reinforcing a partnership built on trust, technology and a shared vision for the future. With camera person Rakesh, this is Apush Bhattacharya for TD India from Paris.
Indian security forces have achieved a major success in Bijapur district of the Bastar division of the state of Chhattisgarh in their efforts to eradicate left-wing extremism. 31 Naxals were killed and a large quantity of weapons and explosives recovered in the operation. India's Home Minister Amit Shah has vowed to eradicate Naxalism from India by March next year.
Security forces have achieved a major success in Bijapur, Chhattisgarh in their efforts to eradicate left-wing extremism from the country. In an operation along the Chhattisgarh-Maharashtra border, 31 left-wing extremists were eliminated. However, 2 Jawans were martyred while 2 others were injured in the operation. The encounter took place in the Indravati National Park area of Bijapur. A joint team of 1,000 personnel from District Reserve Guards, Special Task Force and Bastar fighters participated in the operation. A large quantity of weapons and explosives have been recovered from the encounter site.
घटनास्थल से काफी बड़ी मात्रा में AK-47, इंसास, SLR, BJ लॉन्चर एवं अन्य आर्म्स अम्युनिशन भी बरामद की गए थे। मुठभेड़ के दौरान DRG और STF का कुल 2 जवान घायल हो गए। दोनों जवान का इलाज रायपुर में जारी है। उनकी स्थिति सामान्य एवं खतरा से बाहर है। मुठभेड़ के दौरान एक DRG और एक STF कुल 2 जवान नक्सली से बहादुरी से लड़ते हुए वीर गति प्राप्त कर लिया।
India's Home Minister Amit Shah, while paying tribute to the martyred Jawans, once again vowed to eradicate Naxalism from India by 2026. In a social media post, Amit Shah said, and I quote, "Today, while eliminating anti-human Naxalism, we have lost 2 brave soldiers. The nation will always be indebted to these heroes and extend my heartfelt condolences to the families of the martyred soldiers. I also reaffirm that by March 31st, 2026, we will eradicate Naxalism from the country, ensuring that no citizen has to lose their life because of it."
हमारे जवानों के साहस को हम सलाम करते हैं। बहुत बहादुरी के साथ नक्सलवाद के साथ लड़ रहे हैं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि जिस बहादुरी के साथ हमारे जवान लड़ रहे हैं, निश्चित रूप से हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी और माननीय गृह मंत्री जी का संकल्प पूरा होगा।
The security forces have been achieving significant success in their campaign against left-wing extremists since last year. So far, this year, 81 left-wing extremists have been killed in the state. In 2024, in various encounters, the security forces have killed 219 left-wing extremists. With Bureau Inputs, Somesh Patel's report from Chhattisgarh for DD India.
Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. Sotheby's achieved over $17 million at its first ever auction in Saudi Arabia, featuring a collection of artworks and rare artifacts that blend regional heritage with global creativity. Namibia's first democratically elected president and a key leader in the country's fight for independence, Sam Nujoma, has passed away at the age of 95 on Saturday. Nujoma played a major role in freeing Namibia from South Africa's rule and became president on the 21st of March 1990. In 2005, he was officially recognized as the founding father of the Namibian nation. At least 41 people were killed in a tragic bus accident in southern Mexico on Saturday. The bus with 48 people on board was traveling between Cancun and Tabasco, colliding with a truck. This resulted in the death of 38 passengers, 2 bus drivers and a truck driver. In the rugged mountains of Herat, west of Yemen's capital Sana'a, Yemeni coffee is now being elevated to new heights through an emerging technique, controlled fermentation. Rather than relying solely on traditional sun-drying, Yemeni farmers are experimenting with a more deliberate fermentation process. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. We'll be speaking with our expert guest on US President Donald Trump initiating his bid to resolve the Ukraine conflict with Vladimir Putin. Nation's premier aerospace and defense exhibition, Aero India 2025, is set to commence in Bengaluru on Monday. Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Let's now take you back to our top story where we've had Donald Trump claiming in an interview that he has spoken over the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, where Putin is said to have expressed concern about a lot of people dying in the Ukraine conflict, and this seems to be Donald Trump initiating his bid to end that war between Russia and Ukraine. Although the Kremlin has said it won't confirm or deny that any conversation or conversations have taken place between the two leaders. Now, we're joined by Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former Indian senior diplomat, to talk about this. Good evening to you, Ambassador Tayal. What do you make of Donald Trump's claim and the Russian caginess on whether these talks have taken place or
Apparently, President-elect and President-candidate Donald Trump also had been in touch with President Putin. All kinds of reports are there, perhaps 6-7 talks were there. And now, certainly, if President Trump has said that some talks have taken place. Now, Ukraine President Zelensky is scheduled to visit Washington and meet President Trump next week. And so some contours of whatever plan President Trump has to have some kind of a pause or truce or ceasefire in the ongoing conflict, that is not really known. But President Trump has said that US has already spent almost $300 billion on this Ukraine, on supporting Ukraine in this conflict. He has also mentioned a lot of rare earths are there. It is about £10 trillion worth of rare earths in Ukraine. Now, certainly President Trump, if we see the past record, President Trump doesn't come with any ideological baggage. His only mission and aim and declared goal is to make America great again. So he will certainly not like a continuation of an endless war, and many say an unwinnable war for the West, for NATO and for Ukraine. And we also recall that President Trump had left Afghanistan. In February 2020, he came to an agreement with the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the so-called Doha Accords. And even President Biden followed that and quit Afghanistan. So if we analyze that the war between Ukraine and Russia, which is ongoing, is unwinnable for Ukraine, that means America and its allies in NATO will have to continue to pour in lots of sums of money and weapons and treasure to prop up Ukraine. Perhaps President Trump would not like that to go on endlessly. So that will be his leverage over President Zelensky. Now, what is his leverage over President Putin? President Putin perhaps has achieved whatever aims or goals he had declared when he embarked on this so-called special operation in April of 2022. Crimea is already with Russia, and most of the territory which was occupied by Russian-speaking Ukrainians has already been taken over by Russia. And all reports from the field are that Russians are inching forward in the Ukrainian territory, and Ukraine is facing a shortage of manpower because Ukraine's population is limited. And so Ukraine is also trying to go into Kursk and occupy more Russian territory for some kind of a bargain. So war fatigue will set in, and President Putin will be very happy if there is a pause or truce or ceasefire, because then more or less he is like a winner.
But it's also being said, Basital, that Putin and his forces have of late been making gains against Ukraine, and at this moment ceasefire would perhaps serve the interest of Ukraine, that is Zelensky, more than Russia's.
Yes, because if the reports are right that Russian forces are inching forward and occupying more villages and territory, then of course a ceasefire would be in favor of Ukraine. And this is also being said that Ukraine may not join, give a guarantee, it will not join NATO for 20 years. So face saving. So there can be contours of some kind of a arrangement where both sides can save face, but the conflict itself, the bloody conflict, could come to a pause. I would not like to use the word ceasefire or truce, but some kind of a pause, and where more negotiations can take place. But President Trump certainly has something in his mind, some contours of some kind of a, not an agreement, but some arrangement by which the two sides can claim that they achieved their, some of the, at least partly, the objectives of their conflict, and pause the ongoing bloody conflict, the air bombings, drones, and more loss of man, material and lives.
Yes, certainly, and a pause or an ending of this conflict would be in everyone's interests, but we have Donald Trump as the president of the US now, and he always looks for pursuing America's interest in greater earnest than the rest of the world, and rare earths are in play, and he's after rare earths in right earnest, be it in the case of Greenland or now in the case of Ukraine. So do you think that will also become an inalienable part of the deal?
Somehow it seems that the world of geo-economy seem to be coming back, you know, Greenland and rare earths in Ukraine and Gulf of Mexico and Gaza, so Panama Canal, but it is, what one has to realize is that President Trump is a deal maker and is a great negotiator. So what he publicly says and what he has in mind, that what would be the final solution or could be a possible solution, can be two different things. And like imposing tariff on Mexico and Canada, then pausing it for a month. So what he of course wants a truce, because he, President Trump, leading America, does not want to spend endlessly in this war, which is unwinnable for Ukraine, United States and NATO. And since Ukraine is the weaker side after all in this conflict with Russia, so it will have to concede territory. But on what terms, and it will be very difficult. Elections are also due in
and what about the interest of the European allies, because a lot of them are NATO partners, and they have a higher stake in a sense that Russia is far more closer to them, and some of them joined NATO very recently as well.
I think that would be President Trump's highest objective, that America does not spend more on Ukraine, and the NATO countries, the European countries, they take over the slack. And if they continue to fund Ukraine with no burden on American treasury, then President Trump may lose interest. Then he says it's a European war. In fact, he has one of his advisors has said this, that this is a European war. So what is America doing there? So if Europe has the guts, has the money, and has the willpower to match or to plug the gap if United States reduces its military assistance, then President Trump should be fine. He said that, all right, it's European war, so you Europeans sort it out. I'm out.
Right. Well, we'll have to see what happens. Although Europe has been trying to pull more than its weight vis-a-vis the US of late, giving fighter jets, both F-16s in use in Europe, and then of course even commissioned out Mirage 2000s. We'll have to see where it goes. Thanks a lot for joining us and talking about the initiation perhaps of a process of peace in Ukraine, if at all, Ambassador Thayil. Now, the 15th edition of Aero India, Asia's biggest aerospace and defence exhibition, is set to be inaugurated by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in Bengaluru on Monday. The 5-day extravaganza is expected to showcase India's aerial prowess and indigenous cutting-edge innovations alongside state-of-the-art products of global aerospace companies. DD India's Vishal Barista reports.
In line with Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India, Make for the World vision, the event aims to provide a stage to forge international collaborations to fast-track the indigenization process, thereby providing a thrust to Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government's resolve of making India a developed nation by 2047. Addressing a press conference in Bengaluru on the eve of the event, Defence Minister described Aero India as a crucial platform which will drive forward the government's vision of a strong and self-reliant India.
Aero India is a crucial platform that drives towards our vision of a strong India, capable India, secure India, and a self-reliant India. Through Aero India, we are not just showcasing our defense capabilities, but also strengthening partnership and collaborations. Our goal here is to enhance collaboration in areas of common interest with our friendly countries, fostering deeper cooperation and shared progress. The participation of the global industrial leaders alongside numerous Indian firms will serve as a testament of India's growing technological prowess on the world stage.
Organized in a total area of over 42,000 square meters and with the confirmed participation of over 900 exhibitors, including 150 foreign companies, the event is set to be the biggest ever Aero India till date. Rajnath Singh termed the participation of more than 90 countries as a testament to the growing global confidence in India's aerospace and defense capabilities.
Defense ministers or representatives from about 30 countries have come to participate in this event. The presence of air chiefs and secretaries from 43 countries further highlights the significance of this event, not just for India, but for the entire international defense community.
Earlier during the day, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh, and Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, took to the skies in India's indigenously developed light combat aircraft Tejas. The Army Chief expressed his happiness after the flight.
Behind me you can see this is Tejas, the finest example of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. And you can see the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Air Staff, they are flying for the first time.
For the first time in history, Aero India 2025 will witness the participation of two of the world's most advanced fifth-generation fighter aircraft. the Russian Su-57 and the American F-35 Lightning II. Vishal Baristow's report for DD India.
The Election Commission of India has officially concluded the Delhi Legislative Assembly Election 2025 process. The due constitutional notification with the list of newly elected candidates was submitted to Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena. The submission was made by Principal Secretary of the ECI Ajay Kumar and Chief Electoral Officer of Delhi R. Alice Vaz along with other ECI officials. Voting for the Assembly election had taken place on the 5th of this month and the results were declared on Saturday, I beg your pardon. Now, this marks the successful completion of a free, fair and transparent electoral process. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Team India beats England in the second ODI at Cuttack by 4 wickets and 33 balls to spare. And Britain beats Canada to take the top spot in the third round of Sail GP season in Sydney.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. Timeless, boundless and infinite.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, a sudden island-wide power outage was reported affecting multiple regions across Sri Lanka. The Ceylon Electricity Board has said that supply has been restored to most parts of the island. According to Prime Minister Kumara Jayakodi, a monkey coming into contact with the Panadura grid substation caused the power outage. However, the Ministry of Power and Energy has described the situation as an emergency at the Panadura substation. India's President Draupadi Murmu will be visiting the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj on Monday. During her day-long visit to Prayagraj, the President will take a holy dip and offer prayers at the Triveni Sangam. She will also offer prayers at the Hanuman Temple and pay a visit to the Digital Kumbh Anubhav Centre. Visitors to the Mahakumbh can witness over 200 bird species at the International Bird Festival in Prayagraj from the 16th to the 18th of February. The event aims to promote conservation and offer a unique opportunity for nature lovers, ornithologists and devotees to observe rare bird species. And time now to get some sporting updates as well. Well, Uttarakhand is making a mark with world-class sports infrastructure. The 38th National Games have brought the spotlight to Dehradun's Maharana Pratap Sports College, where a state-of-the-art smart synthetic track is transforming the track and field events in the country. Here's an exclusive report by DD India's Narayan Singh on the latest in Uttarakhand's sporting revival.
Uttarakhand is emerging as a hub for top-class sports infrastructure. The 38th National Games are showcasing this transformation. One of the biggest attractions is the newly installed smart synthetic track at Maharana Pratap Sports College in Dehradun. This track is no ordinary one. It is equipped with electronic chips that eliminate the need for a stopwatch. The system captures real-time data on an athlete's speed at the start, mid-race and finish. Athletes and coaches have hailed this innovation.
It was really great to run over here, and environment was also very nice, Bahar day, and I love the environment over here. I think I'm blessed to be able to get the very good infrastructure and great, like show my potential to out there. So, and increase my performance basically. So yes, it does matter, and kudos to Uttarakhand for having such a facility out here.
Coaches now have precise insights to refine training strategy. The smart track is made from high-quality rubber particles of grease, ensuring durability and performance. Such tech-driven tracks are rare in India. Only a few exist across the country.
Track is very good. The type of layers used are world class. All 3 layers have been put in a very, the granules are very, tested, and apart from that, we have provided a number of conduits so that cables should not go above that tracks. So, and thirdly, the tracks are fitted with chips. These are used for various type of trainings of athletes for their strengthening and speed. We test that.
With accurate performance tracking, India's future sprinters and middle distance runners will gain a crucial edge.
By integrating cutting-edge technology, Uttarakhand is not just hosting the national games but also shaping the future of sports training in the country. The precise performance tracking and advanced infrastructure, the state is setting new benchmark for excellence in sports. As athletes and coaches embrace these innovations, Uttarakhand's role in India's sporting journey is only set to grow stronger. With camera person Uttam, Narayan Singh, DD India, Dehradun.
Now, Asian Games medalist Jyoti Yaraji continued her stellar form at the National Games. She won a gold medal in the 100-meter hurdles, reaffirming her dominance in the event. Narayan Singh caught up with Jyoti for an exclusive conversation.
The track and field arena in Dehradun is buzzing with the world-class performances by our athletes. Right now I am joined by Jyoti Yaraji, who won medal in the 100-meter hurdles. Jyoti, a very warm welcome. What kind of competition you witnessed here today, winning the gold medal again at the National Games?
It was a great competition for myself because it was a new track and I haven't reached what I want exactly, but it was a decent race and a win is a win always. So I was 3 times gold, so defending champion, so I'm continuing my place. I was so glad and I want to thanks to the all the specialties over here to providing us.
Talking about here in Uttarakhand, the track was fantastic. It is a smart track having the chips beneath it, and also we can see so one of the modern track rare to see in India. So what's your say on the infrastructure, especially in the sports in India?
I'm quite happy because of it's a fast track and it's a new track, so we can able to reach our targets. So there is no complaints over here because it's a decent organization because they are in the time and they are so friendly with us. They are supporting with us. So I'm really appreciating the association over here, and I'm so glad to be here. Thanks.
So the way things are happening, the way Jyoti Yaraji said, definitely the things are going on the right direction, and we are hoping that definitely India in the coming days in the competitions like Olympics and all the World Championship going to do a great job. With camera person Uttam, Narayan Singh, DD India, Dehradun.
And now about cricket. Well, Rohit Sharma's majestic 119 of 90 balls put India in cruise mode, but late collapse led to them winning by 4 wickets. The Indian captain coasted to an imperious 32nd ODI century before finally falling at 119 runs. Rohit brought up his 32nd ODI century in just 76 balls. Shubman Gill played the perfect second fiddle to him in a mammoth opening stand. Gill himself raised his half-century in 45 balls as the opening stand between him and Rohit crossed 100 runs in just 81 balls. But another late collapse of the batting order led to them winning only by 4 wickets. The hosts have also taken a 2-0 lead in the rubber, thus confirming a series win for themselves against England. And Australia beat Sri Lanka by 9 wickets inside 4 days of the second test to sweep the series 2-0 in Galle on Sunday. Replying to Sri Lanka's first innings score of 257, Australia made 414 riding hundreds by skipper Steve Smith and Alex Carey. Australia bowled Sri Lanka out for 231 in the second innings and then chased down the target of 75 runs, losing the lone wicket of opener Travis Head. Australia's spin duo of Matthew Kuhnemann and Nathan Lyon claimed a combined 30 of the 40 Sri Lankan wickets in the series. Australia have already secured their place in the World Test Championship final against South Africa in June. Britain, led by Dylan Fletcher, prevailed over Canada in a thrilling final on Sydney Harbour to take the honours in the third round of the Sail GP season on Sunday. Led by Tom Slingsby, Australia had dominated the fleet races with 3 wins out of 7, but were penalised for encroaching on the Canadians. Canada had a substantial lead, but Britain overhauled them, and Fletcher held off his fellow British Olympic champion Scott to cross the line first. It was Britain's first event win since the Canadian round last season and extended their lead over Australia. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India NewsHour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India NewsHour.